Okay, so I'm showing you three cubes here, three boxes or cubes that are drawn in three different ways. The first one is perspective, and perspective, if you've taken the Viz Tech class, for example, we talk about perspective a lot, and perspective is a great way to show things in three dimensions. What happens is that this box is drawn in 2-point perspective. If you extend like this line and this line all out to here, there's a vanishing point. And if you extend this line and this line to here, there's a vanishing point. So 2-point perspective. The thing about perspective drawing is that, like, if this, let's just say this box is 1 foot by 1 foot by 1 foot by 1 foot, right? None of these lines are actually 1 foot. So if I draw this on a piece of paper, and my contractor is looking at it, or anybody is looking at it, and they have their scale, and they want to put it down, they can't really measure it because there's foreshortening. We know visually that the height of this corner here is the same height as this corner here. But it's obvious the way this is drawn that this line is longer than this line. So that's foreshortening. As we go further and further back away from the front of the image, the lines get smaller and smaller and smaller. So that's perspective drawing. This next one is isometric. Isometric drawing is unique in that if all of these lines are exactly, if this is 1 foot, if let's just say this is a 1 foot by 1 foot box, all of these lines are exactly 1 foot long. So if you drop a scale, if you put a scale down to this to measure this thing, this will measure 1 foot, and this will measure 1 foot. This will measure 1 foot. Unlike this, like this might measure 1 foot, but that certainly is not going to measure 1 foot. So this is isometric, and the way we get these isometric drawings is we use a triangle, a third or angle, certain angles. If I draw a horizontal line here across, um, this angle right here from this line to the horizontal, that's 30 degrees. That's a 30-degree angle. And then this from this line to the vertical, that's a 60-degree angle. So isometric drawing uses 30-degree and 60-degree angles when we draw it. But the nice thing about it is, as I said, when you put a scale down on it, like if you're doing a reception desk, and I'll show you next week what we did our reception desk in isometric, and you can measure any part of that reception desk and know how big it is. So it's really, really nice. And at the same time, it gives you or the viewer a good idea of what the object looks like in 3 dimensions. Okay, so then there's axonometric. Axonometric is similar to isometric, except this angle here from the horizontal to this line here is not 30 degrees, but 45. So this is 45, and this is 45, and this is 45, and this angle is 45. So axonometric uses 45-degree angles, whereas isometric uses 30-degree angles. There's also another more practical difference, and that is if I look at the top of my box here, this box is exactly square. It's turned at a 45-degree angle, right? It's on an angle, but this is 1 foot, this is 1 foot, this is 1 foot, this one is 1 foot, and each one of these angles is 90 degrees. So if I had a little floor plan here, that floor plan would not be distorted in any way. Whereas if I look at the isometric drawing here, the top face of this box is more of a, I guess, a diamond shape, right? Like if I took away these lines here, here, and here, we're left with a diamond rather than a square here. So the plan view of this is more distorted. And perspective, well, forget about it. That we're not, there's really, this is seriously distorted over here. So let me show you, I've got a couple other drawings here. So this is more building, like architectural, I suppose, rather than interiors, but the principle is the same. So this is in perspective, and we've got the horizon line, and then I've got a little vanishing point over here and a little vanishing point over here, and all of these lines extend to the vanishing point, and this is perspective drawing. It looks great. We have a great idea of what the space or what the building looks like, but we can't measure it. We can't really do anything other than look at it. Okay, so isometric here, and you can see there's a little 30-degree angle right here, 30-degree angle right here. This also gives us a good idea of what the space or what this building in this case looks like. But we can measure the height and we can measure the length of it, and it is, it works out nicely to measure. But we still do have some distortion. If I look down at it, like this roof piece right here, this is sort of that diamond shape, isn't it? And it's not square, or rectangular. Whereas down here in axonometric, you can see that this is exactly a rectangle, and this gives us uh, a good idea of what this looks like in plan, or if we're looking at the roof plan of this. So this was a very popular style of drawing interior design and architectural design projects back in the, oh gosh, the 1980s and the 1990s, so quite a few years ago. But it was extremely popular to draw like this. I have one more. Here is a this is also an axonometric. This is gives you an idea of an interiors project. So what the designer did here was they took the floor plan and rotated it 45 degrees. They just took that floor plan and rotated it, and then just started extending up lines. And this is at a 45-degree angle here. This is, if I draw horizontal here, this is a 45-degree angle here. And they just went and they flushed out this kitchen in axonometric. And this is a really great working tool to get a quick idea of what a space looks like with really very little effort. If I were doing this, I probably wouldn't have shown these cabinets just so I have a better, or I probably would have shown these wall cabinets just to get a better idea to give my client what a better idea of what this little kitchen is all about. Um, what is our goal today? So what we're going to be doing is, well, let's look at the plan here. So here's our reception desk, right? And we've got this closet, we're burying this column in this drywall partition thing here, and there's a closet back here, if you remember. And then our reception desk sits in front of that closet. So our front door is here, and when people come in, they are fronted with the front desk right here, and then behind them is this closet. And what we're going to do is we're going to face this closet with, some paneling, and then put signage on the back of this closet. So from this side, we have a nice finished face over here. And then when you walk around to the back side of it, we've got the closet here for the staff. So in on the handout, this is what the designer created. So this is that closet right here. So the back of the closet, back here, and that's where the coats would be. And then the front and the sides of the closet are faced in this paneling of some sort. And there's some reglets here, or reveals that are, just give this some articulation of some sort. And then we have a larger area right here that sort of cuts back, that's set in, and this is where the signage for the project would be, or for the office would be, so like, whatever your design studio or whatever it would be would sort of fit in here. So that was what the designer's intent was. And then this is the reception desk. It's kind of like an L-shaped reception desk, and it's got a curved front on it, curved corner. And it is so this is the work surface of the desk, and then this is the transaction top. That remember, the transaction top is usually a foot higher than the work surface. And it is, so somebody comes up here and they can put their elbows on it and, ask for somebody, or they can sign in here or do whatever they need to do with the receptionist back here. Now, what we've done is we've cut this transaction top back a little bit, and we just have an open area here so that the work surface here is exposed on this side as well. And that is for handicapped access, so that a person in a wheelchair can get up to the front desk and be able to do whatever business that they need to do. Now, there's two ways that are allowable to have ADA access. There is side access and there's front access. So side access would be the person in the wheelchair would come up and be, facing this way rather than facing toward the reception desk. And then they would, sign in or do whatever they need to do by reaching over the arm of their wheelchair and or interacting with the person behind the desk. This is one legitimate way to do this per ADA. The other way is front access, where the person would wheel up to the reception desk, and there is some knee space here for them to, just tuck in and be able to do whatever business that they need to do with the person behind the reception desk. So what we're showing here is an open knee space here for a person to come in and do front access. What is not shown here, though, is a modesty panel, and I'm not showing it here as well, but I am showing it elsewhere. And a modesty panel is a piece that sort of sits in between the front the knee space here and the knee space for the staff member behind here. And it's just so that when you're walking up to the or coming up to the reception desk, you're not seeing, the person's knees, or sometimes they have a backpack or some shoes or something underneath the desk, and you're not seeing that. So a modesty panel just prevents, whatever messiness is going on behind the reception desk from being seen by from the public side. All right, so this is the back of the reception desk. This is the accessible area right here. So this is the knee space for the employee, and this is the transaction top, the curved transaction top on top, and you can see that it's kind of open underneath to allow, papers or maybe a monitor or a printer or something like that to be sort of tucked underneath the transaction top and not, as visible to guests coming in that are standing on this side of it. And then I've got a couple file cabinets over here, and we'll talk about those file cabinets in a couple minutes. Okay, so well, here's a bigger view of it, of what I just talked about, and here is the back view of it. Here is the plan view of it. I also have let's look at the front. What I've done is I printed this out, and then with my messy chicken scratch, I sort of just sketched in some dimensions here to give us, a better idea of what the dimensions of this thing is. And then over here, I went ahead and I actually drew the knee space back here. So, or the modesty panel over here. So this modesty panel extends and it kind of goes right to the midpoint of this side here. So now you know, whatever's happening back here is not visible from the guest side. So our goal for next time is to uh, draw this right here. All right. So having said that, now let me segue to my AutoCAD. So I've got my ceiling and lighting plan. I opened up my furniture plan and my partition plan. And I'm going to go to my partition plan for this. And we're going to draw our isometrics on the partition plan for this little assignment. So recapping, I've got a building shell, right? And this is just the shell of the building with some dimensions that are showing the columns and the overalls of the building here, overall dimensions. Then I have a partition plan, and the partition plan is showing all of the new partitions for the project. And then we have a furniture plan that is showing the furniture all located. And last but not least, we have a lighting plan that is showing all of the lighting and the ceilings, reflected ceilings for the project as well. And then we will create a new sheet for our front desk isometrics. All right, so let's go to black model space. And before class, I drew somewhere, oh, there it is. I drew this little square. So this square is drawn in isometric. So when I'm looking at an isometric drawing of any kind, I'm only seeing three faces of the cube or box or reception desk or whatever it is that we're drawing. There is the left face here, and it is on the left side of the cube. There is a right face over here, and it is on the right side of the cube, and there is a top face, and that's on the top face of the cube. Now, I suppose you could let me let me rotate this guy. So if I drew it like this, and let's say this was something that was attached to the ceiling, maybe there's some kind of a box light or something like that, there still is a left side, there's a right side, and then there is the bottom of the box. But in any case, we're only seeing three sides of of an object at any one time. So isometric drawing, how do we do it? Well, there's a little button down here, and it is when I hover over it, it says isometric drafting, and it is to the right of polar tracking, and it's to the left of the object snap tracking. And if you don't see this, over in your hamburger menu, the hamburger menu are the three little horizontal lines in the lower right-hand corner. There is a flyout, and there is about what, a quarter of the way down, there is isometric drafting. So just make sure that that is checked, and then you can come down here and you can click on this isometric drafting button. So my isometric drafting button, as soon as I click on it, my cursor has changed. And your cursor might look a little bit different than this. So just be patient if it does, bear with me. But you can see that my cursor has turned into there's a green vertical axis, and then there is a red horizontal axis, but it's really on an angle. It's on a 30-degree angle. And if you notice, it kind of lines up with this cross that I drew on this left face. So the green axis is running vertically, and the red axis is running horizontally, or you know, on this angle here. And this is representing the left face of this object. Now, what I can do is come down to the isometric drafting button here, and there is right to the right of it a little flyout, little arrow, and when I click on it, there are three different options. So I was on isoplane left, which was for the left side or the left face of my box, and now I'm going to switch to isoplane top. And you can see that right away my cursor has changed, and so it's more of an X. And it is aligning more with the X that I have at the top of this cube. And so this is when I am drawing the top of an object. I will set my isometric mode here to isoplane top so I can draw the top of an object. And then if I come back to my little flyout here, there is an isoplane right. And when I click on that, now my cursor has changed again, and now it's matching the right square here, or the right face of this box. And the green is vertical and the red is on this angle. It's kind of going up 30 degrees. So anytime that I am drawing the right side of the box or the object that I'm working on, I will be in isoplane right. So I will be switching as I am drawing from isoplane right to isoplane left to isoplane top. And I can do it by clicking on this little flyout, and these three isoplane options are available to me. Now, that is, for me, at least for me, this is a little bit cumbersome. And there is a nice little shortcut that AutoCAD, thankfully, has given us, and that is the F5 key on your keyboard. So every time I hit the F5 key, my isoplane direction will change. So right now I'm on isoplane right, and if I hit my F5, now I'm on isoplane left. So I can be drawing on the left side here. And if I hit my F5 again, now I'm on isoplane top, which is the top portion over here. Hit the F5 again, I'm back at isoplane right. Left, top, right, left, top. So as I tap my F5 key, I can change my isoplane from top to right to left, depending on what it is that I need to be doing. So when I am drawing in, I'm going to draw, I'm in isoplane top here, and I'm just going to kind of draw some stuff here. So I've got my ortho mode turned on and my isoplane, I'm on isoplane top right now. And as I draw, I can, let me change my layer here. Uh, well, I'll change it later. That's fine. So as I draw a line, I am with ortho on, I can only follow lines that are in this direction. So I'm following the crosshairs. My lines can only follow the direction of the lines and the crosshairs of my cursor with my ortho turned on. So that is isoplane top. Now, if I hit my F5, now I'm in isoplane right. And if I start drawing, I am only drawing on the right side, and I can only draw lines that are going up in this 30-degree angle or straight up or straight down. That is my limitation. I have to be drawing with ortho on in those directions. And if I hit my isoplane or my F5 again, now I'm in isoplane left. And if I go to my line tool, again, I am drawing vertical lines up and down and angled lines that are following that red line on my cursor. So AutoCAD is limiting me to drawing lines that are either isoplane left or isoplane top or isoplane right, depending on which mode I am in. Okay, so let's look at what we're actually drawing here. Let's go. I'm going to go to this one because I've got some dimensions on here. All right. So what we got here in essence is, well, first of all, back here, we just got a big old box, right? It's just a square, just like the square that I was drawing, but it's a little more rectangular. So when I'm drawing the top of this box, I'm going to be using isoplane top. And when I'm drawing the left side of the box, I'll be using isoplane left. And when I'm drawing the right side, I'll be using isoplane right. Top, left, right. And when I'm drawing the reception desk, so what I'll do, I'll start out with a square, rectangle here, and then later on we'll curve the corner. But when I'm drawing this, I will just draw this side isoplane left, and then the front isoplane right. And then when I'm drawing the transaction top and I'm drawing the work surface of the front desk, that'll be isoplane top. So isoplane top, isoplane right for the right side, isoplane left for the left side. So let's start in, and I think what I'm going to do is I'll start on the left. I think I'll start on the top. So I'm going to just draw this top rectangle. It's 11 foot 6 by 3 foot 6. And I'll start there. So the first thing I want to do is set my isoplane to isoplane top. I'm going to put this on my other screen and I'm going to get rid of all of this junk. I don't need that. And I'll just draw my reception desk, I don't know, more or less over here. Just an empty area. Okay, so let's look at our layers and let's just draw on the correct layer. So I've got a bunch, I'm on my ceiling lighting plan layers. And if I go to all, I have all of the layers, including all of that XREF layers that I have in here. But I'm just interested in seeing the layers that are the pure layers that are just in my partition plan drawing. So I'm going to just choose all non-XREF layers. And that way, all of the XREF layers are hidden for me because I don't need to see them right now. And I think for the most part, we can play with line weights a little bit next week. But for now, just getting all of this in, I'm going to draw all of my line work on a detail medium line weight. So I'm just going to set that to my current layer. There it is, a detail medium. And I said I was going to start with the top of my box there. So right now I'm in isoplane left. So let me switch to top mode. There I am. I'm in isoplane top. And by the way, down here you can see that as I switch my isoplane, it tells me down here in the right above my command prompt here. So if I hit my F5, now I'm in isoplane right, hit it again, now I'm in isoplane left, and then hit it again, I'm in isoplane top. So if you're not sure, you can check down here, or if you're still not sure, and this is gone, those are gone, you can come down here to the flyout and go, okay, I'm in isoplane top. That's where I want to be. Okay, so 11 foot 6 by 3 foot 6. So let me just go with my line tool. I'm going to go relatively quick here. 11 foot 6. And then I'm going to come down this way, 3 foot 6. And come back 11 foot 6. And then I can either type in 3 foot 6, or I can just click on this endpoint. Or if you remember, if you just type the letter C, C as in close, and I hit enter, it closes, it comes back to the starting point and gets me out of the command. And there is the top of my box. Okay, so now let's draw the left side. So I'm going to switch to isoplane left. That's isoplane right. There's isoplane left. and the height of it is 14 feet. So I'm just going to come down from here 14 feet. And then I'll go over to the right, 3'6", and I'll come back up right to there, to that end point, and there is the left side. So now let's draw the front over here. So if I go to my line tool and I start coming down, I can come down 14 feet. But look, now I want to go in this direction, but I can't. It's letting me go up this direction and this direction, but that's it. And that's because I'm in the wrong isoplane mode. I'm in isoplane left right now. So let me hit my F5. Now I'm in isoplane top. That's not where I want to be. F5 again. Now I'm in isoplane right, and then I can easily come back to here. And now I've got my box. All right, good. So now,
Hey, Paul.
yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm only seeing in Blackboard a desk plan sketch. I'm not seeing those diagrams with all the dimensions.
Oh, really? Well, hold on here, everybody. All right. Um, so let's see. Reception desk, reception desk sketch. Okay, wait a sec here. Okay, so all right. Do refresh. Do just refresh your page and see if you can see it now. For some ungodly reason, the it was marked as invisible or not visible. I'm telling you guys, I just really hate this new version of
Okay,
Blackboard.
I have it now. Yeah, thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you for pointing it out. I appreciate that. All right. So so let me uh gather my thoughts again here. And okay, so let's draw this little reglet over here. So the reglet is another word for a reveal. So this is just a little 1 inch high reveal, and it's coming around the bottom of my closet paneling here. And so it comes up 3'6" and then comes back this way. All right. So to draw that, so my instinct, let me go to isoplane uh, left here. So my instinct would be to, oh, okay, so I need a horizontal line up here. All I'll do is I'll take this line and I'll offset it up 3'6", right? That's my go-to. So if I do that, offset, and then I go 3'6", it's not going to work the way I planned because it's going to offset like that, and it's going to offset like this. And the reason is that when I'm offsetting, it is creating a copy of that line that's parallel to the line. So it comes out this way and it comes out this way. So I can't use offset when I'm working in with isometrics. And this is something I've been doing this for a long time, and I still go to offset all the time to do it. So what I have to do, there's a couple ways I can do it. I think what I'll do is I will just O track up 3'6" and then draw a line 3'6" to the right. So I'll just go with my line tool and I'll just go up 3'6". I think I will. There we go. And if I if I can't go like perpendicular, because if I go like perpendicular, it's going to give me a line like that. And that is not what I want. I want to turn off the nearest here. When I'm using O tracking, I generally want to turn nearest off because nearest and O tracking just don't play well together. All right, so that's absolutely wonky and it's wrong. So I can't do that. So I'm gonna just go up 3'6". And then I know this is 3'6", so I could type in 3'6". But sometimes what I do is I will just go a little bit farther or a little bit less. I'll just go like that. And then what I'll do is I'll extend. So I'll just go to trim, hold my shift, and then extend to the corner. That for me is the way that works, at least for me, the best. All right, so now so that's the bottom line of my reveal, and then I have another line that is an inch off, an inch above it. So I can't use offset. That's wrong. But I could do O track. I could O track up 1 inch and then do the same thing. But another thing that I use is copy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this little line and I'll just pick a base point just out here. It doesn't have to be right on the corners here. Just going to pick a point and I'm going to go straight up. I've got my ortho on 1 inch. And now that is giving me my little 1 inch reglet. So now on the right side, let me change my isoplane to the right. I want to do the same thing. I can O-track up 3'6" and then draw a line. Or I could, if I wanted, I could just take the line tool and start here, right at that intersection, and just draw a line and then extend that line to that corner. That would be fine. Or I could just copy this line, and that's generally what I do. So I'm going to do that. For me, it's the fastest and the easiest. So I'm just going to choose this corner or the end of that line, and then I'll just copy it up to here and to here because my reglet continues around the corner here. And voila, there we are. I've got my reglet running around the corner. All right, so now I have a vertical one that is running down, and that is 3 feet from the side here. So I think what I'm going to do is use copy again. And I'm going to copy in this direction 3 feet. And then, so that's the right side of the reglet, and then I need to do the left side. So I'll just take that and copy it again 1 more inch. There is my vertical reglet, just like that. Okay, so now I've got, and we'll clean this all up, but right now I just want to kind of get my lines in place here. So now I've got that where the sign or where the lettering or the signage is going to go, and it's 1 foot high. So I'm going to just copy I'll take the bottom line of this reglet here, and I'm just going to choose a base point just somewhere out in the open, and I'm going to go straight up 1 foot. And then it ends somewhere over here. I see that this is 3 feet on this side, so I'm going to make it 3 feet on this side too. So I'm going to just copy this line over to the right 3 feet. I think that'll work. Okay, so now I've got a whole bunch of lines here. I need to do some filleting and trimming here. Let's just trim out that. I'll trim out this little thing there. I think for now that's gonna be okay. So, all right. So what I've got going on is this double line here. This marks the top of the paneling, right? This is the paneling that's attached to the wall, and this is sort of the top surface of it. So that's kind of like isoplane top, really. And you can see that over here, it's kind of inset because there's no paneling where the signs are. So this kind of I've got this little line that comes in about an inch over here, and it happens over here as well. This is the corner. This is the corner of this panel, and this is the corner of this panel here. So I'm going to draw these little guys right here now. So I'll start with this one, but I want to be in the right isoplane. So I'm drawing the top of this panel. So let's just go to isoplane top. And now I'm just going to draw, and this is just 1 inch. I'm just going in this direction, 1 inch. And it should go right to that line there. And while I'm here, I'm going to just trim this little piece. So there is, you can start to see it. There is the top of this panel here. Now this is set in, and this is not showing it set in. So I'm going to just draw a vertical line. Uh-oh, I can't draw a vertical line here. So let's change my isoplane. Now I can draw a vertical line. And that vertical line is going a little bit high, so I'm going to trim that. And I'm going to trim this and this. So now this looks like it's recessed in, doesn't it? So that's kind of nice. I've got the top of this panel and this is recessed in. So let's look at this corner. So this corner here is the top is going to go is here and then the side is coming down. So I need to draw a little corner right here. I'll just go in this direction, 1 inch. And there it is. There is the top. And now I need to come down. And I need the top of this panel here. And I think probably what I don't need is this little line here. So now I've got this panel and it's kind of looking three-dimensional. And then I got this panel that's running along and it looks like I need to just trim this here. That's looking okay. Okay, so this corner, I've got the front of this panel, but I'm seeing the side of this panel here. So I want to draw a little line, just an inch. All of these little sidelines are just an inch. That's looking good. I think I'm just going to trim that. And then this, okay, so now this, I have to do the same thing that I did on the other side. I'm just going to draw a little line, isoplane top, 1 inch, and then I'll just trim this little. So this is a visualization thing. You have to sort of get your brain wrapped around this as you're looking at this in isometric. And sometimes, when I first started drawing isometrics, it was hard for me to really wrap my head around it. So if you're having a little bit of difficulty with it, worry not, you're not alone. All right, so I've got over here. I have this little reglet over here at the top, or the reveal is going into the top of my ceiling here. So that's going in a 1 inch, 1 inch, 1 inch. So let me draw that. And I'm in isoplane top, right where I want to be. 1 inch, 1 inch, 1 inch. And then I'll just trim this out. And then I'm seeing the side of this one. And right here, I need to have that little corner here. So I'll just come down straight like that. And there, relatively easy peasy, we have the back of our reception desk paneled closet thing. All right. So now let's take a look at the front desk. So I've got this curve, but for now, I'm going to make life easy for myself, and I'm just going to draw this as if it were rectangular. So this is 3'6" high, and it is 5 feet wide. And then overall, it's 12'6" in this direction. And then this is coming up 2'6", and and then this is 3'6". So this is one more. This is another foot up. So I'm going to work my way around, and I'm going to get this front part in place, and then work from there. So I want to have some space between the the back panel here and the reception desk so someone can walk in here. So I'm going to give this a little bit of space. I think I'm going to give this 3 feet. Let's call this 3 feet right here. So what I'll do is I'm going to O track. I'm going to start in this corner, and I'm going to O track over 3 feet, and then I will draw 5 feet, 3'6", 5 feet, 3'6" to get this left side of my reception desk panel in place. So let me go to isoplane. I'm drawing the left side, so I'm going to go to isoplane left. That's isoplane right. There's isoplane left. And you can see that it is the vertical lines are aligning with the left side of this left panel here, and the horizontal is aligning with the horizontal here. So this is the left isoplane left. Okay, so what did I say? 3 feet. So I'm going to O track over 3 feet. And that's my starting point. And now I will come over 5 feet and go straight up 3'6", and then go back 5 feet, and then come down to the starting point. And there is the left side of my reception desk. I will deal with the curve later on. First, we want to get it all in nice and square. Okay, so now 12'6" in the other direction, we're going to draw the right side, but I'm in isoplane left. So let's change to isoplane right. That's isoplane top. You can see right down here, isoplane top. Click again, F5, isoplane right. I'm on isoplane right. So now I'm going to go over, and the overall length is 12'6". And I'm going up, and I'm just looking at my handout with my red marks, 2'6" up. A work surface for a reception desk is almost always 2'6". And then the wheelchair access area, I'm going to make that 3 feet wide. So I'm going to come back 3 feet. I'm coming to the left 3 feet. And now I have to go up for my transaction top. And I'm going to go up 12 inches or 1 foot. And then I should, if I've drawn everything correctly, it should snap me right back to this corner right here. And there is the front of my reception desk. Now we don't have the curve, and we don't have the knee space flushed out yet, but that in essence is our reception desk front. So I think I'm going to just extend, I'm just going to trim it. I'm just extending that down. So just so that I can visualize this. This helps me visualize a little more. So this is the knee space here, and then this is the area with the transaction top. So let's draw the transaction top. And so it's a transaction top. So let's go to isoplane top. That's isoplane left. There is isoplane top. And the transaction top is 1 foot thick or 1 foot deep. So I'm going to just draw a line 1 foot. And then I could do the math. I know that it's 4 feet, but let's just say I don't want to do the math. So I'm just going to draw a little piece of the line that's just a little part of the transaction top here. And then I'm going to come over to this side, 1 foot, and then I'll draw a little piece coming down in this direction. And then, as you might have guessed, I can use fillet to close those off like that. So let's clean up this right here. I'll just use trim and just kind of clean that area up so that it looks like this is in front of this back piece here. Okay, that's looking pretty good. All right, so now let's work on the top, the work surface for the employees. And so it is 3 foot 6 deep from this corner. I'm just looking at the handout here. So I'll just start with that. 3 foot 6. Wait, not 3 foot 6, 36 inches. Excuse me. And then it comes out, I don't know, some distance over here. I'm just going to go to there. I'm going to kind of do the same thing that I did for the transaction top. I'm going to draw this line and I'll draw this line and I'll fillet the two of them together. All right, so now this is the tricky part over here because I can't see back here, so I'm not exactly sure where this ends. So I'm going to have to draw a few little construction lines that are going to help me locate the corner of the work surface over here. So I know that if I start over here, and these are just little construction lines, I'm just going to draw them to help me out here. I know that this is 36 inches because it's going to be the same on this side as it is over here. So 36. And then if I go up, straight up, I need to go straight up 2 foot 6. But I can't go straight up. So let me change my isoplane. And now I'm on isoplane right here, but I could go right or left will work. I need to go up 2 foot 6. And then I'll draw. So that's where the corner of the desk is, right there. And I'm just going to draw a little line that long. So I don't need these guidelines anymore. The only reason I drew these two guidelines was to be able to get this corner right here. And then that marks the edge of my work surface. So let me erase these. And then I'll just go with those. And then this, I need to get the edge, the left edge of my, oops, if I can find it, here it is. I need to get this little left edge right here. So I'm just going to draw that little line there. And I can't do it this way, but I can do it on isoplane top. And I'll just I can either go short and then extend, or I can go long and then trim. All right. I think I'm happy. So now I'm deciding, do I want to work on the curved corner? Let's work on the curved corner here. So there's a more complex way to do this, but I'm going to do the cheat method, and I'm just going to use fillet with a radius, a 5 foot radius, and that is going to give me, it's pretty close to the exact radius. It works out quite close. Otherwise I have to draw iso circles, and it's something that we use so very rarely. I'm not even gonna bother with it because this approximates it almost precisely. So it's very simple. I'm going to fill it with a radius. So I'll just go to fillet. I'm going to choose a radius. And for this outside curve, I am going to choose, it's saying 3 feet. All right, let's see. You know what? I'm not sure if this is going to work. So let's just try this. If this doesn't work, then we'll do the iso circles. 3 foot radius. I think that's a little shallow. All right, we're going to do it the right way. Okay. So I'm going to use an iso circle. And what the heck is an iso circle? Well, it's actually an ellipse. So if I just draw a circle here, it's not going to work. And you can see that 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 fillet that I drew was really smaller than the curved front of the reception desk that's shown on the drawing. So first thing I need to do is choose the center of the circle. And because this is the transaction top and it is higher than the work surface over here, I have to draw a little guideline that's 1 foot up. So I'm going to do that now. So I can't go up until I change my isoplane direction, and then I'll go up one foot or 12 inches. So that is just the only reason I drew that is for this point that I can draw this lovely iso circle that I need to draw. So I'm just going over and I'm just checking my dimensions here. All right. So for the iso circle, I need to be an isoplane top. So let me change my isoplane to top. And I'm going to use the ellipse tool. So over here in the draw palette here, I have a number of different ellipses. There's a center, axis end, and there's elliptical arc. I'm going to use axis end. And before I start drawing my ellipse, I am going to come down here where it says iso circle, and I'm going to tell it that I am doing an iso circle, an isometric circle, because we're drawing isometrics, and I'm going to draw the circle. So I'm going to choose iso circle, and it's asking for the center of the iso circle. So I will just choose that point on that little guideline that I drew. And then I'm going to come out and you can see it is drawing this nice ellipse. And the ellipse is going to be 3 feet. So I'm going to type 3 feet and enter. And now it has drawn this ellipse, and the ellipse is the tangent of the ellipse is right at the line of my reception desk here. So now I want to do a little bit of trimming here. I'm going to trim this portion of my iso circle, and I'll just erase this back here. So all I have is this portion of the iso circle, and I'll trim the front of the reception desk here. And you can see that, I mean, don't look down here, but you can see that this is a nice smooth curve out here. So now, and that is for the front of my reception desk or the front of my transaction top. Now I have the back of the transaction top, which is square, and I want to create that little circle here. So this was a 3 foot circle, this iso circle. And over here, it comes back a foot. So we're going to make this a 2 foot iso circle. So let's do it again. I'm going to go over to my ellipse tool and make sure that you're choosing the axis end option ellipse. And then come down to isocircle, pick that little point right there, and then come out. And this was 3 feet, but I want to come back 2 feet. So I'm going to just type 2 feet. And there is my second isocircle. Now I got to do some trimming. And you can see the reception desk, the shape of the reception desk is coming along just fine here. And I'll just erase this portion here. And I don't, that's all I needed this guy for, so I'm just going to erase him. And I don't need this corner either, so I'm going to erase that. So there is our nice round top of our transaction top, our curved transaction top. Down here, this is wonky, right? This is square. So what I'm going to do is rather than reconstruct that and draw another isocircle, I can just take this and copy it straight down. So let's do that. I'm going to copy it. And I'll just start from this corner and copy it straight down to this corner here. There we go. Just trim that. And I have a nice rounded front on my reception desk. It's perfect, actually. Okay, so my reception desk does have, let me go back to this one. I do have a little material change here. This is presumably one material, this paneling, and then the top here is maybe stone or quartz or black granite or I don't know what it is. And so there's some thickness here, and that's a problem. I'm going to make that an inch. So I'm going to do that top of my transaction top here. And all I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy down. Let me go to my isoplane, either left or right here. I'm just going to copy this edge of my reception desk, the front edge, and I'm just going to copy it straight down. You know, if you wanted your counter to be 2 inches, it would be that, but I'm just going to make it 1 inch. And there we go. Beautiful. While we're at it, let's look over here and the work surface over here that also has a thickness, and I'm going to make that 1 inch as well. So I will just copy this down 1 inch as well. And you know what? While I'm copying, let's go over. Let me bring this back. So we've got the leg of our reception desk here, this end panel here. I'm going to make that an inch as well. So I'm going to copy the front. I'm going to copy the front of this an inch over to the left as well. Notice that I'm in isoplane right because I'm working on the right side of our reception desk. Okay, so now I've got a choice here. I can either have the top here and it ends here and it's supported by this little leg, or if you wanted to have a waterfall edge, you could just take that one out and it comes down. This work surface would come down. However you want. Okay, so now let's look at at, at this edge here, or this face here, and I'm also going to draw the modesty panel. So the modesty panel, the total width is 3 foot 36 inches. I keep wanting to say 3 foot 6, 36 inches, which is 3 feet. So I'm going to put the modesty panel halfway. So halfway of 3 feet is 1 foot 6. So once I get this line in, I'm going to come in 1 foot 6, and then I will draw the modesty panel coming over to the left. So let's just start right here. And I want to go in this direction. It's not letting me because I'm in isoplane right. Let me maybe go to isoplane left. There, I can go this way. And I want to go half of 3 feet. Well, half of 3 feet is 1 foot 6. There's 1 foot 6. And now I want to go this way, parallel to this line. I want to go to the left. And I can't. It's letting me go up and this way, but not this way. So I'll change my isoplane. There, I could go that way. And then I'm just going to draw this line just a little bit over, and then I'll just trim. While I'm in trim mode, let me just trim this little piece here. So this is almost perfect, right? It looks like I've got this side leg here, and I've got the modesty panel here. The only thing I need here is just a corner where the modesty panel meets the side leg here. So I'll just draw a vertical line. I can't right now because I'm in isoplane top, but now I can. And this time I'll just go a little bit short and then go to trim, hold shift and extend. And there, ladies and gentlemen, we have our reception desk. The only thing that's missing is a little reglet over here. And I am going to put that reglet, I'm going to find the end point. There it is, of where the curve ends. And I'll come straight down. And then I will offset, or nope, see, I'm trying to offset. I can't do that. I will copy 1 inch. I'm in isoplane right, so I can go to the right here, 1 inch. And I will also draw that little edge here because we're looking at the side of this front panel here. So let me change my isoplane one more time. And it's 1 inch, so I'll just draw a 1 inch line. And then I'll just trim that. And that, folks, is perfect. Okay, good. So let's now look at the other one. Okay, so the back side is pretty close, pretty similar in to the front, actually. Um, I've got this side panel here, and then we've got the modesty panel over here. I've got a couple file cabinets over here. So these file cabinets are standard. These are standard files that would be, underneath at a desk or underneath a reception desk. They're called pedestals, or short for pedestals is PEDs. And very often in the industry, we'll talk about PEDs. And these PEDs there's a side panel here that is preventing us from seeing the side of this pad here. And that's nice. They're not particularly beautiful looking. So this is encased. And then we have a side panel on the right that's covering the side of this pad here. And then for whatever reason, we have a spacer here, or a panel that is running in between these two pads. And generally speaking, that doesn't occur, but the designer who did this put that in, so we will put it in as well. Now, bear with me here for just 1 second. I just want to look at my notes, make sure I'm not forgetting anything. Okay, so these pads so this is like a file pad where you could put manila folders, file folders in. And so this is a file pad. File pads are generally 12 inches high. Well, first let's start from the bottom. So this is a toe kick at the bottom, so that the drawer is not dragging on the carpet or the flooring material. So a toe kick, just like a regular baseboard, is 4 inches. So this is going to be 4 inches high. And then the file cabinet drawer here, this is going to be 12 inches high. And this is another file cabinet drawer, and that's going to be 12 inches high. So this file cabinet is 12 inches and 12 inches high. And we call this a file ped. This this cabinet, this has got a 12-inch file cabinet down here, and then it has two box drawers or two little drawers here, and this box drawer is 6 inches high. So this is 6 inches, and this is 6 inches. So a this file cabinet would be called in the industry a box file, and this would be a file. So when you're identifying PEDs, like to your furniture dealer or whoever you're working with, you would say, okay, I need two file cabinets, one a box file and another file, and they would know exactly what you're talking about. And also sometimes we'll call this a BBF and an FF, file, and box file, BBF. So just FYI. And then these have like just a little lip here for a handle. And I'm sure you've seen, well, maybe you haven't, but sometimes there's just a handle right here. But more often than not, in more modern file cabinets, there is just a little lip, and this comes down, just an inch or so. This doesn't even look like an inch. If that's an inch, this is probably like a half an inch. That is just giving some a finger pull to pull the drawer open. All right, so we've got file cabinets, but then we've got the 3 foot area here, this transaction area here, and then our transaction top goes up a foot and then goes across and then around, and we get this curved part over here. So let's start by, I'm not sure which way I want to start. I think I'll start over here. So I'm going to start by actually kind of drawing this square just like we did before, I think, and then work these curves, and then we'll work this modesty panel area over here. All right, so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this next one way over here. I'm going to put this drawing over here. So let me go, I'm going to start with this face over here. So this is the right face, and I'm going to be looking at isoplane right over here. Or whatever one works, really. So there I'm on isoplane right. And I'm just going to draw the side. So there is the side of let me see here. Let's see if I can't. Okay, so yeah, this I think is going to work. So I've drawn this right here. And now I'm going to draw the side of the transaction top right up here. So that is 1 foot. And if you remember, it's 1 foot in this direction as well. So let's draw that. All right, good. And then if you remember, it came out 5 feet before we started rounding the corner. So let me go to isoplane top, and let's just draw this 5 feet. And then it came over to the left. What was it? 12'6". All right, it's actually less than 12'6" because it is 12'6" minus 3 feet. So let me redraw that. 9'6". And then it comes down the side of the transaction top. So I'm coming down here. I'm at this point here. So now I'm going to come down a foot. I changed my ISO mode. And then I've got to come over 3 feet. And I'm going to change my ISO mode to top or this way. And I'm going to come over 3 feet this way. Okay. So now let's draw this side. I'm drawing, I don't need that guy. Or this guy. So now I'm going to draw this over here. And then, so I started, so this is the top of the transaction top here. And the transaction top comes out a foot. So I'm just going to draw in this way 12 inches and then straight down a foot or 12 inches and then back. If I go to isoplane top, I'm doing this one a little quicker, I know, but I'm kind of doing it on purpose because I want you to be able to muddle through it a little bit. So I can see it's starting to come together. Um, let's do these iso circles together for sure. So let's start here. And I have to do the same. So because this is at 2'6", right? This is the ground is here, and I'm coming up 2'6" to this point right here. It's 2 feet 6 inches above the floor. But the transaction top, remember, is a foot higher, 3'6". So I want my ISO circle to be at the 3'6" height. So this corner is only 2'6". So I need to draw a vertical line, changing my ISO mode, 12 inches. So now the top of this little guideline that I just drew is going to be where my ISO circle is up here. So let me go into ISO top mode, ISO plane top. You can see it's matching these lines. And now I'm going to draw an ISO circle that is 3 feet in 3 foot radius. This is that little 12-inch line that I just drew. That's this guy right here. There it is. So now we're going to draw our ISO circle up here. So go to my ellipse, make sure that you're on an axis end ellipse. Go down to ISO circle. Pick the top of that little guideline and pull out your ISO circle and make it 3 feet. Why 3 feet? Because I've got 3 feet right here on the 3 feet right here. And then this one is going to be 2 feet. We're going to draw another iso circle for the inside radius of the transaction top. But let's concentrate on the outside. So there is my iso circle. Let's do some trimming because this gets confusing even to me. I'm going to erase this piece here. So that is the outside edge of our transaction top. And actually that looks perfect. So now I need to do another iso circle right here. That is not 3 feet, but 2 feet. Ellipse. Iso circle. Pick that point, that little guideline point. Go out 2 feet. And then do some trimming. Let me get rid of that. And I don't think I need this guy anymore. So there is the top of our transaction top. So my transaction top was a foot high, an inch high. The thickness of the material is an inch. So I'm going to just copy these corners. You know what? I'll get this one and I'll get this one too. And I'm going to copy them straight down 1 inch. There is the top of my transaction top. So I've got this little leg, this leg of the transaction top. I'll copy that over an inch. And I'll trim out that. And I'll draw a little line here. And I'll do the same thing on the right side. So let's change my isoplane to this direction. Copy this 1 inch. Draw this little line here just to connect that. And oh, I'll trim this over here. Yeah. You know what? While I'm at it, let me just give the countertop down here also some dimension. I'll copy this down 1 inch as well. I'm copying straight down 1 inch. I'm just giving that some thickness right there. Okay, so I have this curve. This curve is where the front face of the transaction top. This is the back of the face of the transaction top where it intersects or touches the work surface here. So that is at 2'6", and notice that this radius is right at this corner, whereas these radii, this 3 foot and this 2 foot, were that 1 foot up, right? That little dashed line that we drew, that little guideline that we drew there. But this one's only 2'6", so I'm going to I need to get these lines in, this one line and this line, and then this 2'6" iso circle here. So, all right, 2'6". So I'm doing some basic arithmetic here. So 2'6", the depth of this is 2'6", and this is 3 feet. So that means this line comes back 6 inches and then extends out in this direction. And similarly, this one does the same thing, 6 inches and then comes out. So let me go to isoplane top because I'm kind of working on the work surface here. Go with my line tool. And I'm going to O-track over 6 inches. And I'm just going to draw. And that line is this line right here. Let me trim that stuff out here. And I'm going to do the same thing over here. I'm going to O-track over 6 inches along this edge of my transaction top there. And then I'm going to draw this line more or less like that. So that's the corner of where the inside face of the transaction top meets the work surface. And now I got to draw my ISO circle here, and let's make that 2'6". So ellipse, don't forget, axis end, ISO circle. I'll start right at this corner, right there. Make my ISO circle 2'6". There it is. And I am going to use my trim and just trim out these extra lines right there. And there is the inside of my transaction top. Okay. So what do I need to clean this up? I need to get this leg, right? This leg right now is just a line, but it needs to have 1 inch thickness over here. This leg over here, this needs 1 inch thickness. And then this is 3 feet to here. And if you remember, the modesty panel back here is half. Remember, this depth is 3 feet, and this was half of 3 feet. So this came in 1'6". So let's start to flush this out over here. So I need to have thickness for my leg of the end of my reception desk. And I'll just trim this. And then, so this comes over 3 feet. So I'll start at this corner. I'll O-track over 3 feet. And then if I go straight up, let me change here I'll go up that much, and then I'll extend. So that line that's this line right here. So this line is this line right here. So now wait, let me just do this. This might make it visually easier for you. So there is the side of this side panel here. And then I am gonna just come back half of 3 feet, 1'6". And then I can go straight up here because I'm on isoplane left. Change my isoplane. Go this way. Do some trimming and extending here. There I have the modesty panel, and then the end panel, and I've got the file cabinets starting over here. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop. And I'm going to let you flush out the rest. So let's look at this one more time together. So the file cabinets are 1'3". This is standard width of a file cabinet or a pedestal type file. 1'3", little 1-inch filler piece between the two file cabinets, and then 1'3", and then another inch over here. The file cabinets themselves have a 4-inch high toe kick. So this goes straight up. You'll just copy this line straight up 4 inches. And then the file cabinet here is 12 inches high. So you can take this line, copy it up 12 inches. Copy this line up 12 inches. And then this file cabinet is also 12 inches. Copy it up another 12 inches. And then for the box files here, there are these box drawers. They are 6 inches. So take this line, copy it up 6 inches, copy it up 6 inches. And then you can just come down like a half an inch, just a little bit, just copy down, and that is just the drawer pull for the file cabinets. So you want each of the drawers to have a pull, a finger pull, so you can put your finger in here and pull the drawer open. There's also a little bit of a gap right here between the top of the file cabinet and the bottom of the work surface. And that is normal. When you have a file cabinet like this, you need to slide it in and slide it, and you don't want it to be exactly the height. You want there to be a little bit of space so that you can slide it in easily, and nice and smoothly, and it's not crunching and grinding against the underside of your work surface. So you'll see there's a little bit of a gap right here. And you will be done. Next week, what we're going to do is we're going to add dimensions to our drawing. And I've got some dimensions already set up here. We're going to add those dimensions. And then we are going to set this up on a new sheet, a sheet 5 in our drawing set. So that is our goal for next week.